She broke down behind a fast food counter while everyone looked away, except one homeless man watching through the glass. What he held in his hand wasn't food or money. It was a ring that once belonged to the mother she thought was gone forever. And when she followed him into the night, she uncovered a truth that would shake the city and change everything. Do not blink. The final scene will break your heart. She stood behind the register with her chin trembling and her eyes full of tears. No one noticed. Or maybe no one cared. But outside, watching through the glass with eyes that had seen pain before, was a homeless man. And when no one else moved, he did. Jasmine's hands shook as she stuffed another greasy bag into a tray. The chicken fryer hissed behind her. Customers shouted half-formed orders. Her throat burned from holding back tears, but she could not cry again. Not here. Not in front of them. "Come on, girl, pick up the pace," her manager snapped. "You think this place runs on your sad little emotions?" Trevor always said things like that, quick with a smirk, loud enough for the whole store to hear. Jasmine just nodded and whispered, "Yes, sir." She was 17, working double shifts at Cluckhouse Chicken just to keep the lights on at home. Her mom was sick. Her little brother had no idea they were behind on rent. Jasmine had not eaten in 2 days, but she still showed up, wore the same cracked shoes, the same faded name tag, and still they laughed. A group of teens pointed from the soda machine. One girl whispered, "Look, she's crying again." Another customer, dressed in a tailored coat, scoffed. You would think someone working with food could keep it together. Jasmine bit her lip hard. She did not want to cry, but the pain was crawling up her throat. Her stomach growled. Her fingers ached. Her eyes were begging someone, anyone, to notice. But they all looked away, except for one man sitting outside. He wore a ripped coat, boots with holes, and a scarf that looked older than Jasmine herself. He sat still on the concrete curb, a battered coffee cup resting beside him. Most people walked past him like he was invisible, but his eyes never left Jasmine. At first she thought she imagined it, but every time she glanced outside, there he was, watching, not with judgment, not with pity, but with something else, recognition. At 7:14 p.m., Jasmine's body finally gave out. She dropped a full tray of food. Hot sauces exploded onto the floor. A cup bounced and rolled under a table. Gasps filled the air. Trevor was furious. "Oh, that's it! I've had enough of this dramatic little act. That's coming out of your paycheck." Customers laughed. One actually pulled out their phone. And Jasmine, exhausted, humiliated, and hungry, collapsed to her knees. She covered her face and began to sob. No one moved. No one helped. No one said a word. Until a knock, soft but sharp. Everyone turned to the glass doors. The homeless man had risen from the curb and placed his palm on the window. His eyes were fixed only on Jasmine. Trevor stormed over. "No, no, no, you're not coming in here. You want food? Go back to the shelter." But the man did not flinch. He slowly reached into his coat pocket and pulled out something that didn't belong to someone sleeping on the streets. It shimmered faintly in the restaurant light. A silver ring. Not just any ring, but one with a small blue stone and tiny letters carved inside. Jasmine froze. She whispered, "Where did you get that?" The man looked directly at her and said just one word, "Home." The moment she saw the ring, Jasmine's world tilted. Her tears stopped. Her breath caught in her chest. Because that ring, the one the homeless man held up, belonged to someone she lost. Someone who was never supposed to come back. Jasmine stood slowly, legs trembling, eyes wide. "That ring, that's my mother's," she whispered again. Trevor scoffed. You know this guy? But Jasmine did not answer. She was staring at the blue stone in the center of the ring. It was unmistakable. Her mother had worn it every day, even in the hospital bed, even when they took her away. Only, she was told her mother died 8 months ago. She never came home. No funeral, no closure, just silence. The ring disappeared with her. Now it was in the hands of a homeless man who knew her name. Jasmine pushed open the heavy door, ignoring Trevor's angry protests. Get back here, Jasmine! I'm not done! But she was done. Done being invisible. Done pretending not to feel. She stepped out into the cold parking lot, the fluorescent lights flickering above her. The man slowly lowered the ring and looked up at her. Who are you? Jasmine whispered. Her voice cracked. Where did you get that? The man stood still. For a moment his eyes filled with something that looked like sorrow or guilt. He spoke softly. I promised her I would find you. She saved me when no one else did. Jasmine's heart pounded in her chest. You knew my mom? He nodded. She gave me this ring the night before she was taken, told me if I ever saw a girl with eyes like hers, crying in a place like this, to give it back. Tears rolled down Jasmine's cheeks. Why didn't you come sooner? The man shook his head. I tried, but when I came to the hospital, they said she was gone. I lost everything after that. I thought I failed her. He reached out slowly, placing the ring into Jasmine's trembling hand. I never forgot her. Or you. Inside the restaurant, Trevor stepped outside, still fuming. You done with your little reunion? You've got 5 minutes to clean that mess or you're fired. But something inside Jasmine had shifted. She held the ring tight in her palm, felt her mother's presence in the silver, her strength. She turned to Trevor, calm and clear. You already fired me. I just never stopped showing up. Trevor blinked, caught off guard. Excuse me? I quit, Jasmine said. The customers behind the glass stared. Some gasped. One actually started clapping, but stopped when Trevor glared at them. Jasmine turned back to the man. Please come with me. Tell me everything. I need to know what really happened. He hesitated. I'm nobody, Jasmine. I sleep in an alley behind the post office. I've got nothing left. You have this, she said, holding up the ring. And right now, that's more than anyone else has given me. For the first time in a long while, the man smiled. Not wide, not proud, just soft. And Jasmine saw it. There, beneath the dirt and tangled beard, a familiar kindness. He nodded once. All right, but first let's get you something to eat. As they walked away from the bright lights of the fast food joint, Trevor shouted after her again. You'll come crawling back! You'll see, you are nothing without this job. Jasmine turned back. I was already nothing with it. And then she walked into the night with a stranger who somehow knew her mother's last words. But what neither of them realized was that someone had recorded the entire scene, and within hours, that clip would spread across the internet like wildfire.
By sunrise, the world knew her name. But no one knew the real reason she had cried behind that counter, or why the man with torn shoes had held her mother's ring. The truth was buried deep, and Jasmine was about to dig it up. Jasmine barely slept that night. She sat on the edge of her twin mattress, still wearing her cluckhouse uniform, the ring clenched tightly in her hand. Her brother, 8 years old, slept peacefully in the next room, unaware that everything was about to change. She kept replaying Henry's words in her head. She saved me, then vanished, and no one cared. He had told her stories about her mother that Jasmine had never heard, about how she once stood up to the factory supervisor for underpaying workers, about how she used to pack 2 lunches, one for Jasmine and one for someone else who needs it more. But what haunted Jasmine the most was this. Your mother knew something. something she was not supposed to find out. She told me, if she disappeared, to tell you never to trust the hospital. That line echoed in Jasmine's chest like thunder. And then the notifications began. Ping, ping, ping. Hundreds of them. A classmate from high school sent a link with shaking hands emojis. "Is this you?" Jasmine tapped it. And there it was. A shaky video, 1 minute 43 seconds long, showing her breaking down on the floor, her manager screaming, the crowd mocking her. And then the moment Henry stepped up to the window with the ring. The comment section was on fire. Why did this make me cry? The world needs more people like that man. Protect her at all costs. It had gone viral overnight. The top comment had 400,000 likes. He looked poor, but she was the one starving. He saved her. In less than 12 hours, Jasmine became a symbol, not of weakness, but of dignity. The GoFundMe someone created in her name had passed $32,000 by morning. Strangers wrote to say she inspired them to quit toxic jobs. Some offered food, clothing, even housing. But none of that mattered as much as what Henry had said. That her mother might not have simply died. Jasmine picked up her cracked phone and called the hospital where her mother had been taken. "Hi. I'm calling about a former patient, Teresa Carter." The woman on the other end went quiet. "I'm sorry, we have no record of that name." "What? She was there just 8 months ago." "There's nothing in our database. No death certificate. No file." Click. The line went dead. Her fingers trembled. Why would a hospital erase someone's name? She turned to Henry, who sat quietly on the couch, his eyes filled with shame. "I should have come sooner, but I thought I failed her." Jasmine looked up. "No, you were the only one who did not fail her." At that moment, a loud knock hit the door. Not a neighbor, not a reporter. When Jasmine opened it, 3 tall men in dark suits stood outside. One of them held a sealed envelope. "Are you Jasmine Carter?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "This is for you. It was left in our possession by Teresa Carter under strict instructions." He handed her the envelope. It was thick, heavy, sealed with wax. Across the front, written in her mother's delicate handwriting, were 6 chilling words. "Open only when the lies begin." Jasmine stepped back. Henry stood frozen, and before she could ask another question, one of the men leaned in and said, "You're being watched. Be careful who you trust." The envelope trembled in Jasmine's hand. Her mother's handwriting stared back at her like a ghost reaching across time. Open only when the lies begin. And now they had. But what was inside would not just change Jasmine's life. It would uncover a truth someone powerful had worked hard to bury. She shut the door. Henry stood beside her, silent, staring at the envelope like it might burn through the table. "You should not be involved in this," he said quietly. But Jasmine shook her head. "She wanted me to know." She broke the wax seal. Inside was a handwritten letter and a USB drive taped to the back. She read slowly, lips trembling. "My sweet Jasmine, if you are reading this, then something went wrong. The hospital lied to me. I was never sick, not like they said. I found out that the new wing they built was not for patients, it was for something else. I overheard doctors talking about patients being moved without consent, experimental trials, money changing hands. I told the wrong person what I knew, and then I was gone. If anything happens, find the man who sleeps near the old post office. He is not what he seems. He owes me a promise. And Jasmine,
Whatever happens next, do not stop asking questions. I love you. Fight. By the end, she could barely breathe. She turned to Henry. You knew about this? Henry's eyes glistened. I only knew she was scared. She made me swear I would protect that letter. I kept it hidden, too scared to open it. Jasmine pulled out her old laptop and slid the USB drive in. What came up on the screen froze both of them. Video recordings. Time-stamped hospital footage. A hidden phone camera showing her mother arguing with a man in a white coat. You are experimenting on people who have no one. I will not stay silent. A reply. Then you will disappear, and no one will even ask where you went. Click. More footage. A dark room. Nurses discussing sedation. A patient being wheeled out at 2:37 a.m. No medical staff on record. Jasmine's hands covered her mouth. Her mother had uncovered something dangerous. By noon, she sent the entire file to a local news reporter who had been trying to reach her all morning. The story broke hours later. Fast food girl's breakdown uncovers hospital corruption ring. It exploded online. News vans crowded her street. Protesters gathered outside the hospital. People demanded justice for Teresa Carter. A grand jury investigation was launched within days. Executives were arrested, doctors suspended, and the wing her mother spoke of, shut down permanently. But none of that changed what Jasmine had lost. It only gave her the one thing she needed most: the truth. Weeks later, a lawyer visited Jasmine again. Teresa had left something else behind, a small life insurance policy, never claimed, and a final instruction. Use this to build, not survive. Jasmine used it to move her brother into a real home. No more broken heat, no more darkness. And Henry? She refused to let him sleep on a sidewalk ever again. He stayed in the spare room, always keeping an eye out, always making sure the light stayed on. And every morning, Jasmine wore the ring, not because it was fancy, but because it was proof that even when the world looked away, one person noticed. One man reached through the glass, and because he did, everything changed. The end.